And on a Monday, we really appreciate your interest in the agenda that the President is trying to get through the Senate and the Congress. The Comptroller, Peter Franchot, will take us through Wall Street reforms because he knows the best what money is about. Okay, Jason Bosky.
And I think one of the issues, as we're all starting to think about the fall election that is going to be a big winner for the Democrats, is Wall Street reform. In polls, poll after poll after poll, everyone supports Wall Street reform. A latest poll that came out today from Washington Post ABC was that 2/3 of Americans think that banks and Wall Street have gone too far, and that stronger regulation of both is needed. And in politics, you don't see 2/3 supporting anything. That's really big, and that really should help show the Democrats that it's incredibly important that we rally behind Wall Street reform. So now we've proposed a couple reforms that will put consumers back in control and end the worst practices in Wall Street. The big banks will be forced to offer clear credit and mortgages under terms that consumers can understand so that they have the information they need to compare the rates and make financial choices that are right for them. Also, there's going to be new strict regulations to hold Wall Street accountable so taxpayers never again have to bail out big banks.
I mean, it's not rocket science. It's very clear what's going on. There's a direct manipulation of the market. You know, I'm vice chair of the state retirement system. As a result of these shenanigans, that fund went from $41 billion to $26 billion in less than a year. One thing that we see a big increase in are personal handwritten notes to me as the Comptroller in the tax return. And they are the most incredibly poignant messages from Marylanders who have always paid their taxes on time, never had a problem, who write in and say, I owe you $150, I can't pay it this year. Either I don't have a job, house is in trouble. Thank God for President Barack Obama. I mean, talk about the right person and the right time, the right perspective. He and the Democratic Party are going to push through this financial reform package. Agree with Dan, I think it should be a first step. Because if we don't, in addition to passing these reforms, if we don't bring justice to the relatively small number of billionaires and others in New York City who perpetrated this, then we will not have finished the job. You know, people say this is an act of God, that somehow, you know, it's like the volcano in Iceland or the earthquake in Chile or something. It's just some economic cycle we're going through. But we know from the recent articles that in fact the system was rigged by a small number of people. It was manipulated by a small number of people. They went into the marketplace. In effect, they cried fire in a crowded theater. And not only did they yell fire in a crowded theater, they then set a fire and stampeded the country and the world into this calamitous economic downturn. It was deliberate. It was designed for private profit. The irony is that it was so unbelievably calamitous that we, the taxpayers who were the victims of this fraud, both civil and criminal, ended up having to bail out the very people who created it. I'm very hopeful that the next step after this financial reform package will be bringing people to justice. And it's not just the whiz kids that they get out of the business schools in the Ivy Leagues, who created these synthetic collateralized debt obligations or whatever they're called. I want their bosses, I want the managers of these major firms to be brought to justice, because otherwise, unfortunately, if we allow them to A, avoid justice, and B, keep the money that they got. You saw the average salary of the top 25 hedge fund managers was $1 billion last year. Think of that for a minute. $1 billion, what do you get paid on a daily basis? Each workday, we're talking about a $10 million transfer of wealth from hardworking Marylanders and Americans into the pockets of these individuals. This reform is a crucial first step. I say to everyone all over Maryland and all over the country, frankly, if I could say it to everybody, it's not a Democrat-Republican thing. I know that's how it's playing itself out right now. This is basically us against a small group of extraordinarily powerful and wealthy people on Wall Street. We have to remind them that Uncle Sam is standing in front of them, and these people in New York literally tore his right arm off, left our country damaged, left our country hurt. And they did it, I guess, just for the money. I guess that's it. I mean, I haven't heard any other explanation. I think what Barack Obama has managed to do is create an opportunity for the country to right its course and begin the process of healing the economy. I'm very encouraged by the turnout tonight. I'm very encouraged by the vote today. I think Dan is right and Jason, that ultimately we're going to prevail on this. I'm less interested in using it as a wedge issue against Republicans than I am in using it as an issue to promote the Democratic Party and say, you know what, this is why we're a great party. Not just because we can beat Republicans, but because we do the right thing when we're called on, and because we're able to accomplish something like this financial reform package.